Hi, sixth grade. Today we're going to start talking about rocks and more specifically, how we classify them. So there are three characteristics we want to focus on when classifying rocks. And the first two kind of go together. It's the rock's mineral composition and color. So we can go ahead and put that in our notes. There are three ways to classify rocks. And our first two are the mineral composition and the color. Rocks are made up of mixtures of minerals and other materials. A rock's color provides us with clues about what minerals make up the rock. The example that's given to us in the book is granite, which is made up of feldspar, hornblende, quartz, and mica. If we look closely at the sample of the granite that's given, we can see all four of the materials throughout the rock. Another example is this piece of diorite. So you may not be able to see it real well in the video, but it's dark with light pieces of mineral throughout it. Diorite is made up of feldspar, biotite, and hornblende. All of these materials make up diorite, and when we look closely at it, we can see it present in our sample. Hornblende and biotite are both dark-colored minerals. You may not be able to see them when you're looking at the rock straight on, especially in the video, but you can see they're present when you move it back and forth in the light. So then the light-colored or whitish-looking mineral throughout the diorite is going to be our feldspar. And as the only light material in the diorite, we can definitely tell that it is present. So the third characteristic we want to look at when classifying rocks is the rock's texture. So let's go ahead and put that in our notes. And this is going to be the look and the feel of the rock's surface. So when looking at the rock's texture, we want to keep in mind the rock's grain size, shape, and pattern. This is a piece of coquina, a soft rock that's made up of limestone and broken shells. Just looking at the rock's texture, we can tell that it's rough, and the grain size is going to be large because we can clearly see the minerals throughout it. And its grains are also going to be jagged because it has that rough texture. And as far as grain pattern, there's no specific pattern. So using these three characteristics to classify rocks, which are the rock's mineral composition, color, and texture, geologists are then able to classify rocks based on their origin. And there are going to be three major groups of rocks. So we have igneous rocks, metamorphic rocks, and sedimentary rocks. So let's go ahead and put that in our notes. So we have igneous rocks, we have sedimentary rocks, and we have metamorphic rocks. So igneous rocks are going to be formed by the cooling of magma or lava. So we can go ahead and put that under igneous rocks, formed by the cooling of magma or lava. Igneous rocks have visible crystals of different minerals. Crystal shapes have angles or jagged edges, and many times several types of crystals are present in one rock. So let's go ahead and add that in our notes under igneous. So they're going to have visible crystals. So then our second group of rocks, sedimentary rocks, are going to be formed when particles of rocks and the remains of plants and animals are pressed and cemented together. So we can put that in our notes. Formed when particles of rocks or the remains of plants and animals are pressed together. So sedimentary rocks are going to be composed of tiny grains or rounded pebbles that have been cemented together over time. Some are going to have straight layers that may contain fossils of plants or animals. Now, we want to keep in mind that sedimentary rocks are the only rocks that are going to contain fossils. We'll talk a little bit more about this later when we get into sedimentary rocks. So let's go ahead and put in our notes that sedimentary rocks are formed of tiny grains or rounded pebbles. Now, metamorphic rocks are going to be formed inside the earth, and they're usually going to be foliated. Now, foliated is just a fancy word of saying they're going to be in layers. So let's put in our notes that they are formed inside the earth, and let's also put down that they may be foliated. And then we can put in parentheses that it just means layered. What we want to keep in mind about metamorphic rock layers is that they may be bent or wavy. We're going to talk about igneous, sedimentary, and metamorphic rocks a little bit later, and we're going to go into more depth about each of them.